A 17-year-old just ran a lap faster than 7 of the 8 men who made the Paris 2024 Olympic 400-meter final. His name is Quincy Wilson, a junior at Bullis School in Maryland, and the stopwatch in Memphis says 44.10 seconds. That time is not simply a high school record. It is 4th on the entire 2025 world list, behind seasoned pros who have been lifting in weight rooms longer than he's been alive. Picture the scene: late evening heat at the Ed Murphy Classic. Wilson in a plain navy singlet, no pro contract, no agent on the rail. The gun fires. He hits the backstretch in 21.1. Breezes through 300 in 31.9, and then he does the impossible for a teenager. He speeds up. The pros he's chasing crack. The kid in lane 6 actually closes. Older fans felt the echo immediately. The last American teenager to punch grown men in the pride like that was Michael Johnson, 19 years old, when he split 44.21 back in 1987. Johnson rode that shockwave all the way to Olympic history. But for every fairy tale reference, the sport offers a ghost story. Obi Moore ran 46 low at 16 and never found his senior gears. Alan Webb broke 4 minutes in the mile at 18, but talked openly about burnout before he turned 25. Sprinting remembers its prodigies, but it also remembers the price they often pay. Wilson's next test fires on July 30th at the AAU Junior Olympics. Houston humidity, teenage nerves, and an American track world waiting to see whether 44.1 can drop again. A repeat performance at altitude-neutral Houston would slice another chunk off his own under-18 world best and shove his name into every relay depth chart discussion. If a senior quarter-miler twinges a hamstring before the Tokyo World Championships, selectors will look hard at a teenager who can split 44 low on a rolling relay start. Yet the same stopwatch that crowns prodigies also counts the seconds they have left before tendons tighten and expectations crush. Wilson's coaches already limit his weekly volume, and sports science staff watch his growth plates like hawks, because history warns what happens when horsepower outruns a teenage chassis. A lap faster than Olympic finalists, an AAU final 2 days away, and the clock ticking on both a dream and a warning. Quincy Wilson's story is racing forward, and the next gun will tell us whether this is the dawn of a new quarter-mile monarch or the opening line of track's next cautionary tale. Start with the stopwatch math that makes coaches double take. Wilson hits the 200 in 21.1 seconds, barely breathing. At 300, the clock reads 31.9. Most teenagers fade there, but Wilson's final 100 is 12.2, giving him a rare negative close for a full quarter mile. For comparison, Michael Johnson's breakout 1987 lap split 21.3 and 32 flat, then closed in 12.4. Jeremy Werner's best collegiate circuit showed a similar pattern: 21.2, 32 even, 12.3. Wilson is matching those legends stride for stride before he can legally vote. His biomechanics file is just as wild. FlowTrack frame-by-frame review counts 46 ground contacts, one fewer than the average senior quarter. Average stride length checks in at 2.21 meters, another inch longer than most adult sprinters his height. Propulsion numbers from a high-speed camera at the finish estimate. Peak horizontal velocity at 10.4 meters per second, right on par with Norwood and Wade Van Niekerk at similar splits. Tech talk matters too. Wilson laces Adidas Prime SP 3 spikes, carbon plates 117 grams, while racing on the Memphis track resurfaced in 2023 with a new Mondo formulation that independent lab tests say is worth roughly 0.05 over 400 meters compared to the surface Johnson set foot on in the late 80s. Those boosts help, but they don't explain how a kid still growing facial hair stands up to pro-level lactate. The answer hides in physiology logs released by his coaching camp. Wilson's post-race blood work shows a lactate clearance curve that drops from 22 millimoles to below 8 within 15 minutes. That's professional sprinter territory. His VO2 numbers are pedestrian, proving what quarter-mile veterans already know. The event belongs to athletes who can buffer acid, not simply breathe. An anecdote brings the numbers alive. After the Memphis win, Wilson jogged the backstretch and told Coach Joe Lee, "I felt like I could keep going." Johnson once said the same thing to Clyde Hart after a 44 low at age 19. Hart made him sit down, insisting arrogance ends careers faster than bad hamstrings. Wilson laughed, then put ice on both Achilles, evidence someone is already pumping the brakes. All those data points scream prodigy, but they whisper a warning too. The human body rarely tolerates senior acid levels, while growth plates are still soft. Up next is the part history likes to repeat. Talent meets workload, and something has to give. History has a talent for giving teenage sprinters everything in one hand and taking it back with the other. O.B. Moore felt the give and take first. In 1996, the 16-year-old blazed 45.14 seconds, a national high school record that put his face on magazine covers. 2 seasons later, hamstring scar tissue and a bulky Achilles left him jogging it through prelims. A prodigy remembered more for the promise than the medals. Ellen Webb's Miles story followed a similar arc. World junior record at 18, then a tug of war between sponsorship demands and a body still adding bone density. By 25, he could barely find the fire he'd once lit on a spring afternoon in Eugene. Quincy Wilson's camp is determined not to let that cautionary script repeat. Weekly training logs show his total track volume capped under 25 miles of running equivalents, a safeguard borrowed from NFL load management studies. Strength sessions emphasize eccentric hamstring work, avoiding heavy concentric lifts that spike injury rates in still maturing muscle. The sports science unit that monitors him, an unwritten perk of Bullis School's partnership with Johns Hopkins, runs monthly MRI screenings on growth plates in both tibias. Any sign of stress fracture risk and sprint workouts drop to tempo strides or pull sessions until the signal clears. But the external pressures don't wait for medical clearance. Florida and USC have already dangled full scholarships, while whispers of a 6-figure shoe deal popped up the moment the Memphis result hit social media. A professional contract would trigger USADA whereabouts filings, random dawn doorbells, and a travel calendar no high school guidance counselor could map. Go the college route, and he trades quick cash for NCAA dual meets and the soft landing of a team system. Though history shows college coaches can be just as eager to unleash a teenage star on back-to-back relay weekends. His family insists no decision will come until after the US trials next summer, but the clock does its own negotiating. Every viral clip adds new followers asking for split breakdowns. Every NIL request pings his agentless inbox. The more the spotlight widens, the narrower the margin for a growth plate twinge or a mistimed double peak. The next 12 months will reveal which path he walks, handle the mileage and the money wisely, and 44.1 becomes the second paragraph of a long resume. Handle it poorly, and track historians will file him next to Moore. Another brilliant flash dimmed before the pro lights fully warmed up. The AAU Junior Olympic Games in Houston are the first checkpoint. Evening temperatures are forecast near 95 degrees with humidity thick enough to wrinkle bib numbers, conditions that usually slow quarter-milers by a tenth. Even so, coaches close to Wilson think he can run 44.25 and still lower his own under-18 record. The bigger prize is proof he can reproduce elite speed on 7 days rest, a skill every pro travels with in carry-on luggage. Beyond Houston lies an even juicier possibility. The US men's 4x4 pool for the Tokyo World Championships is deep, but depth can thin fast when hamstrings tighten under August workloads. If a veteran like Vernon Norwood or Akeem Bloomfield tweaks a calf, relay coach Mike Marsh will scan the alternates list for fresh legs. A teenager capable of splitting 44 low, even off a rolling start, makes selectors pause. Imagine Wilson walking into the mixed zone at 17 wearing a senior world's credential. The headlines write themselves, but so do the injury risk spreadsheets. Breaking 44 before his 20th birthday sounds outrageous until you chart the numbers. Wilson has already dropped 3/10 in 12 months. Maintain a yearly improvement of 1/10, a pace Michael Johnson matched from 1990 to 1993, and by 2028, Los Angeles, he arrives with a personal best of 43.8. That would erase Jeremy Werner's long-standing US record and make him the youngest American ever under 44. The path, however, is narrower than a lane line. He must keep that 21 flat opening split while trimming 800ths from the final 100, a feat that demands twice a week strength endurance workouts and a calendar free of the back-to-back relays that wrecked O.B. Moore. All of it circles back to choices. Sign a pro deal this winter and he'll chase appearance fees across Europe. 5 races in 6 weeks, each one a chance for a breakthrough or a breakdown. Opt for the NCAA and he gets structured tapers, but also indoor seasons that tax growing shins. Either road can lead to a 43 or to a medical file thicker than a phone book. So what does the clock say? We'll know more after Houston's gun, and even more once the next school year reveals which logo appears on his singlet. Until then, drop your prediction below. Does Quincy Wilson smash 43 seconds before he turns 20, or does the pro grind catch him first? I'll pin the boldest take. The stopwatch has started its count, and the story of track's newest prodigy is running alongside every tick.